Yeah, there were a lot of good things. Yeah, in those first three quarters against pretty pleased. A lot of good things to see against a really good top 10 defense in the country on the road, and then just the inability to focus, to finish in the end. We had I think 3 drives with the lead, opportunity to go get some first downs, run the clock out, and go win the game. And that was pretty disappointing. But a lot of things to build off of, and felt like just mixing in the run, mixing up some of the play action pass, pushing the ball down the field a little bit, getting some completions for the quarterback, changing the launch point. Thought we did a better job of protecting him in those first 3 quarters. So there were some positive things to build off of, but got to be able to put 4 quarters, against a good team like that, be able to finish.
How are those growing pains, especially when you're playing a couple young guys on the offensive line? Obviously, Alessio is getting his first taste. Like, are those fairly normal growing pains to learn how to finish? Yeah,
and they're tough lessons, to be able to have a loss like, so close and have a loss like that. But those are definitely great experiences for those guys, and lessons to learn from, to where, the next opportunity they get will be better in those areas, particularly for young guys. Be able to go on the road and experience that, I think, is a positive thing for them.
I assume you didn't practice outside today.
What's that?
I said I assume you didn't practice outside today.
No, prepping for that dome weather.
Yeah,
to look dry.
Does anything change? I mean, I know you guys play a lot of games on turf, but anything change being an indoor game?
No, I mean, I just, we're just moving the practices inside to kind of get used to it that way. But yeah, we're usually kind of bouncing between the turf and the grass anyway.
Ryan, how have you seen Alessio grow in these last couple weeks as a starter, and just all that comes with that? I know you guys liked him before, but now that he's in this different role, everything that's on his plate now, just how have you seen him take to that, and where's he at on that sort of curve?
Yeah, he's doing a lot of good things, and I think the thing is more confidence in that role as the starter, and the urgency that he's kind of demanding from the other players during practice, I think is something, as he's gotten out there and guys are respecting the way he's playing and the toughness that he's displayed, kind of demanding of the details and the urgency and the week of preparation from all the positions. And I think that's something he's kind of bought into, and growing as a leader, I guess, is what I've seen. Pretty good.
We thought in particular, like the play of Krishawn McCray and then both tight ends really take off last week. Was that by design, or was that kind of as the game progressed?
No, it was by design, and sometimes you go in with the plan of, man, I'm trying to, I think the ball's going to go to Jack or one of those tight ends, and then the first read is taken away or whatnot. It doesn't always end up the way that you anticipate, but most of those were by design, and yeah, those guys did a nice job finding space, creating separation, and then finishing on some balls. It was good to see those guys get involved.
You see what does Maryland do defensively? That's a challenge.
The thing that jumps up is I think they've created 20 turnovers, and as a defense, which has got to be up there, nationally, and so very aggressive. Really, they're young on the, as a defense comparatively what we've seen the last couple of weeks, but extremely talented. The defensive line really jumps off the film to me. I mean, they're in the backfield, they're really active, getting after the quarterback. And then they're aggressive in the secondary too. They've been able to jump some things and create some interceptions, some turnovers. So we got to do a great job staying disciplined, and then taking care of the football will be huge.
How long ago does that game that you played in last year feel right now?
Yeah, that was a long. Yeah, I think it was game 2, right?
Yeah,
last year.
2.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Is there much that you can take from that with what Loxley does?
No, I think they've changed coordinators from there, so it's a little bit different schematically, and haven't offensively haven't referenced that game too much yet.
You guys have lost 8 in a row. They've lost 7 in a row. Is this the ultimate who really wants it type of game?
Yeah, I mean, I think both programs are really hungry for a win to take some momentum into the offseason, and I know that the guys that way we practiced today, I was pretty pleased with the way the guys have continued to compete, and those guys, particularly for the seniors that maybe their last football game, sent those guys out the right way.
If Aiden's healthy, would you like to try to sprinkle him in sort of situationally or whatever it might be, or would you prefer to just sort of stay traditional, I guess, in that sense?
No, I think if he's healthy and able to go, we'd definitely like to get him in there and utilize his skill set for sure. It's kind of day by day, see where he's at.
healthy wise? I mean, obviously Kai was out too. Do you expect him to come back and like, how close to, I don't wanna say 100%, never 100% at this point.
Yeah.
How do you expect any more guys to get closer to?
We're hopeful on Mackay. I think that's another one that's just day to day and see how he feels. You know, that'd be a good one to get back, but I don't have the answer to that right now.
I see we saw Lonte warming up too. I mean, that's got to be a tough situation for a kid like that contributed early, and then last year eligibility. I guess kind of how you coach him through.
Yeah, no, he's been awesome. I mean, it's a really tough situation anytime, and I know just the injuries that he's had to battle through his whole career. So, yeah, disappointing for him, and it was awesome. I mean, we traveled him last week. It was awesome to see him, during pregame warming up and getting back out there. And he's just been a really positive force for the team. Just his presence out there and leadership that he's shown. And, but I'm not sure where he's at. Just being able to get out there.
You mentioned that with him traveling to at 8 and 2. That when you bring guys that you maybe know that aren't going to play when you have that limited roster, what goes into the thought process of that in terms of emotional side, leadership side?
Yeah, no, I think that was it. I mean, Aiden's a team captain, and Cadillac kind of is also a leader, experienced guy that's been around here for a while, and that was it. I think just supporting guys as they come off, and then I know Aiden's been really good for Alessio when he comes off the sideline, helping him talk through the last series and talking coverages and whatnot. And we just felt like as a staff, those guys were a big part of this team and wanted them to be there with us.
I think try to get Nick going, when you look at the numbers, I guess, lately, Jonathan, yesterday said, maybe he's been pressing a little bit, I guess, and he's trying at least, but then, maybe it leads to some other thing, just what do you guys see?
Yeah.
Like, how do you
No, it's disappointing anytime you get that stat sheet at the end of the game and you're like, man, I really felt like going in, we had some things. I think he had some more targets in that game, and for whatever reason, there's a variety of reasons it didn't, end up connecting, finishing that way. But Nick's a really talented player, and we got to continue to find ways to get him involved. And that's something, on my call sheet, I've always got a section there, number 6, man. Hey, these are plays to try to get him going, and either whatever reason we weren't able to connect on it, or sometimes they take away that read and you're forced to get to number 2 or number 3 in the progression or whatnot. But he's a good player. I'd love to see him get back. The Penn State game was a really unique one. They did do some things coverage-wise to really take away those outside receivers and force the ball, over the middle. And then last game, I felt like, it was just a little bit. It was a different thing where I felt like we had times where we were throwing at him, we just weren't able to finish it, connect.
What's it been like working with Amari? This will be his last college game, I think. I guess unless some.
Yeah.
You never know. I guess what's happening with the course, but he's coming.
I've really enjoyed Amari, man. He's the same guy, like a great energy around the building, positive. In practice, you could watch him practice today versus, first day of training camp, first day of spring football. He's just a guy that's always got a big smile on his face, works hard, and those are guys that you want to come in and work with and try to help them have success.
With signing day coming up next week, I'm wondering, as you look back at the guys you brought in, transfer recruits, do you feel like, Jonathan's talked about establishing the culture and identity, do you feel like maybe not necessarily the results, but the fight is showing the type of kid you want?
Yeah, I think that's something that we really value in recruiting and try to dig, below the surface a little bit to find out of what guys' character and try to surround ourselves with those guys in the building. I think you see it from the way that the guys continue to battle, despite not having an opportunity to go to a bowl and go on the road and are trying to fight and get into these games and keep competing. And that's just something we want to keep year after year, trying to surround ourselves with those guys and continue to build moving forward.
It seems like it's been a team that's really kept fighting, just